Hello.
It's been a while, Taylor.
It's been a bit. I think I said when we were logging into StreamYard here and getting everything set up, this is a Reclaim TV classic. It's a throwback.
It truly is.
Format in some ways.
Yeah.
But they can't all be bangers like On Writing. You know, sometimes we have to try something and struggle, and that's another thing we do on Reclaim TV. So.
Yeah, exactly. I've kind of missed, you know, I've loved the On Writing series, but I've kind of missed the kind of, you know, pull your sleeves up and play around with a little bit of the tech. So yeah. That's what this is all about. Am I fair to say, Taylor, that what we're going to do today is explore Ghost, that open source blogging platform. In particular, Ghost got a new feature that Taylor's been playing with, which is kind of the birth of this session, where they're integrating ActivityPub. And so what exactly does that mean is something Taylor's going to take us through and explain. And then we're also going to see if we can get it running on Reclaim the Blog right now.
Yeah, and and to be perfectly clear for folks, well, and actually, yeah, taking a sec too, I also miss this. I like these streams because it gives us a good excuse to try something out, and I like being open about sometimes that we're just trying something, we don't know if it'll be successful. I wish there was more technical stuff out there on the internet like that, to be honest with you, because I think there's value in that. You know, like what's more frustrating than reading someone's highly detailed instructions and them just not working for you and you realizing it was because they're like specific to their situation, or worse yet, you don't even know why and you have no way to troubleshoot because you didn't get to see the process, you know?
Totally.
So I kind of like showing that. We can talk about, I'm sure we'll run into some issues today so we can kind of work through them. Sometimes I think that's valuable. So
I think you said we're stealing a format, right? It's
yes.
Taylor and Jim follow instructions.
Yeah. Yes. So we're credit to Stephen Downs. This is going to be a Taylor and Jim follow instructions video because we will be. First, we're going to talk about, as you said, Ghost and ActivityPub a little bit. I'm going to just show what it looks like on my site because I do have it pretty much working. Not pretty much. I have it working on my own Ghost blog. But what I did to get there was just try a bunch of stuff because when I first set this up, they didn't really have instructions yet. They've come out with instructions now that we're going to kind of follow. Although the twist is we will be doing this not on a existing Ghost blog, but we'll be migrating Ghost blog. So it's not quite it isn't a fresh setup. So there'll be some other things in there to mention. We'll have to do things like dump a database and migrate it. And we're going to see if we're successful. We may not get through all of it today. And maybe I have to, follow up with some notes in Discord after or something like that. But we're going to try to, and we're going to show what it can do and also what it doesn't do. Because there's some things that the ActivityPub support in Ghost and is pretty early. We're not going to have a lot of time today to talk about like what the fediverse is, what ActivityPub is. If you don't know what those things are, go look them up. Go look up Mastodon. Go look up the WordPress ActivityPub plugin. You can look at this Ghost page on their social web beta. Because we gotta save our time to be right in the weeds, I think, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but this is a new feature with Ghost 6. And it's really exciting, and it allows your Ghost blog to be something you can follow from other stuff on the Fediverse. So it has some features that are really polished. Actually, it matches Ghost in a lot of ways. What it does do is pretty elegant and polished. There are plenty of things, though, it just doesn't do it all. So,
which was interesting when we were talking about this. I was interested about, it might be worth talking about the things it does and doesn't do.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So this page will outline a lot of what it does do. And so I'd recommend folks look at it. And I'm going to kind of use it as a guide here just to quickly overview. But when you have this enabled, you can, from other Ghost sites or Mastodon or whatever, folks can follow your blog at index@yourdomain.com. And you can actually change that. So I have mine changed to @taylor@jaden.me, which is kind of nice with the way my domain name works. So you can put right now in Mastodon, if I could type, you can put @taylor@jaden.me, and Mastodon will take a second and hopefully, we'll discover it. And this is my Ghost blog. And it's kind of cool. There's some weird things with like history and in Mastodon. But basically, if you follow this, you will see the posts show up that I put here in Mastodon. So it's kind of neat. I think I have subscribed to notifications from my Ghost blog. No, I don't. But anyway, I will, I follow myself from it just to kind of see what it looks like and how it works. And it's really interesting what it does and what it doesn't do. So that's the basic feature of it. In the Ghost side, you get this reader interface, and we'll kind of walk through this actually on my blog instead. So this is my Ghost blog. This is the basic page. There's some other features with Ghost 6 that I haven't even played with yet, and we probably won't touch today, but there is now more sophisticated built-in web analytics that you can sign up. However, it uses a third-party service that you have to hook up. So I haven't done that part yet. Kind of like how Mailgun is used for newsletters. There's a service called Tinybird, I believe, that can do like advanced web analytics. I'm not really that interested in web analytics, so I'm not even sure if I'm going to bother, but that would be on top of the stuff that we're seeing here, where I can see like links that folks have clicked in my emails from like newsletter and stuff like that. Ghosts is still cool that it offers a lot of this right in the interface. I really like this.
I agree. Yeah, and I mean, the analytics have been fun with the Reclaim blog, I have to say. You do get a sense of how many people are opening, what they're clicking on. And, I sometimes feel a little dirty with some of that data. But at the same time, I also feel like, for a newsletter that we're sending out, as part of our company, it's kind of useful to know. Anyone can unsubscribe at any time. We're not selling anything, we're not, really data mining there. But it is interesting to see that, even though I feel a little bit like, are we getting too invasive here? But I like what Ghost does here.
Yeah, what I'm kind of interested in is, right now I use Matomo on my site because I have that hosted in my cPanel account because there's an installer for Matomo. And so that's kind of nice because it's all something I host. It's not going to Google, which is cool. Matomo does so much that I don't know. I don't care about a lot of the, like Matomo is like a full Google Analytics replacement in all of the complexity of that. And really what I care to know, I don't need this to be clear, but I find it interesting is Matomo will sometimes tell me it'll collect the refer links. So if someone linked to my blog post from somewhere, it's kind of interesting. It doesn't always do this because it depends, of course, on how the links work. But I had posted recently, someone somehow must have linked to my website from a Substack because I'm seeing refers from Substack, which is interesting. And I've never even used Substack. So I'm guessing someone's newsletter out there, maybe just a bot, put a link to one of my posts in there.
I agree, though. That is interesting and potentially useful just to see who's talking about anything you're writing, and then it provides a conversation, maybe a link, a networking.
Well, and I would go there and comment on their stuff if it's relevant, right? Like that's kind of what I'm looking for, which isn't really how all these things are designed for necessarily, but that's what I'm interested in.
I agree.
So anyway, the new stuff is this network page. So this is where Fediverse stuff lives in Ghost now. There is this nice kind of Mastodon looking interface here where and I'm actually I do use this in dark mode, but I'm going to put this in light mode. Sorry, everybody, because I think it streams a little bit better, like quality.
What do they mean by reader here, Taylor?
Yeah, so the reader is other Ghost blogs that you follow that are also on the Fediverse, I believe. They may not have to be on the Fediverse specifically, but you can follow other Ghost blogs. So this is interesting to me. There is a separation in Ghost between long form and short form with the Fediverse support. So these are posts, newsletter, blogs, whatever you want to call them. They're long form. It's the main posts thing. So when I click on this, I can see like Ben Wordmiller's post here. And I can even reply right here, which I find
without logging in. That's nice.
Yeah, because I'm in as myself in the Ghost admin. I haven't actually done this yet, by the way. I should try that because that is something I haven't played with. But basically, this is kind of like a feed reader almost, right? It's like a feed reader, but not RSS. And so I find it interesting, but I'm not really using it much. I mean, I guess if they ever added RSS support here, so I could just import all of my other feeds, maybe
that would make sense, right? Yeah, that would be nice, frankly.
Yeah, but for now, it's just sort of like RSS plus some social, right? Like you can like you can like things and you can repost things and you can reply to things right in here, which is kind of interesting. So this is sort of Fediverse, but for other Ghost sites in particular. That's kind of what that is. Then there's Notes. Notes is Mastodon, basically. Notes is tweets. Notes is short form stuff. And there, again, I find it interesting that they are separate. In WordPress with the ActivityPub plugin, I don't believe anyway they're separate. When you post a blog post, that goes out to Mastodon essentially, or as like a link or whatever. So they are completely separate here. Then there's of course notifications. So you do get that. And I can see like some folks that recently followed it, things folks liked. There's Explore, which is just, recommendations for other Ghost blogs, I think in particular, that it might want to check out. My profile, which you can edit from here. You can change your handle, which is nice. I can put picture and stuff like that. And then there's some basic preferences for like, you can block domains. Oh, there's a Blue Sky
sharing. Look at that.
Sharing. How does that work? Oh, your content is now live in Blue. We've created a dedicated Blue Sky profile. Oh, this is using Bridgie. Okay, that's really interesting.
So it's immediately like this is being posted from Mastodon. It's going to get one of those messages.
Well, so Bridgie is interesting, and it's a service that I don't remember the name of the person who runs it, but I do follow their work via RSS actually. But they run a thing where I don't know why this isn't actually working. Open profile. Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, apparently it's not working. I'll have to look at that later. But Bridgie lets you essentially post, bring your Fediverse profile, via Mastodon or whatever, into Blue Sky, because that's a different, network, different protocol and everything. And so basically what you do is you follow a special from your Fediverse. So from Mastodon or Ghost, I guess, you can follow app.brid.g. and it will make a Blue Sky profile for you and post your stuff there as if you were there. And it tries to kind of unite the two. It is, of course, these types of things are never completely clean, but in my experience anyway, but it is kind of interesting. I believe it even tries to shuttle some version of replies back and forth, like it'll notify you, but I'm not exactly sure how that all works. I haven't used it yet. It's interesting that it has first-party integration with Ghost, though. That is very interesting.
Totally.
So I'll have to look at that. Wasn't even aware of that. So
what's Blue Sky's situation with ActivityPub? Are they like,
are they
their own protocol? They're not using ActivityPub?
Yeah, they're using something called AT protocol, which is completely separate. And I would recommend you read this blog post from a blogger who doesn't write very well, but has lots of thoughts about it, named Taylor Jaden.
And, yes, I read that blog post.
So I don't get into all of it, but it's its own protocol. It's kind of, in my opinion, trying to solve different problems. Actually, it's very interested in providing a way. AT protocol is very interested in providing a way for an individual to have a unified presence on the web. That seems to be very important to it. And so you can have other tools kind of use a repository that either you host, like on your own hardware or in something like Reclaim Cloud, or you pay someone to host, or you're just using Blue Sky as the host, essentially. But essentially, you have this repository. You can think of it just like a database, like literally like a MySQL database or something. And other apps can make different tables in that database and read from it and write to it. So Blue Sky is like one table in the Jim Groom database, if that makes sense. And then there's not a lot of these yet because it's sort of early. I think, was it Leaflet is one of the other things? Nope. Padlet. I'm mixing things up. I don't remember what the other things are called, but there are other apps that can also read and write to that database, but they're separate. So Blue Sky can write to the Blue Sky table in the Jim Groom database. And then there's another thing that lets you do like shared documents. And that thing can write to its table, but it can't talk to Blue Sky directly. But it's neat that you can be the same person in both services. You don't need to make an account, if that makes sense. So that's cool, but it's not really the same problem.
But there was this sense, right, that Blue Sky should get on board with ActivityPub, and there should be a kind of, some sort of uniformity amongst protocols in order to make things interoperable and et cetera. So is this just another case of Blue Sky, just going its own way, or is it a philosophical difference, or, like?
I think yes to both of those.
Yeah.
So Blue Sky, ActivityPub has been around longer than AT protocol. Even like it was around before they even started working on AT protocol.
Got it.
It's probably intentional. I'm sure there's things written somewhere from the folks who started working on it of why they didn't choose to just use ActivityPub. And again, my take is that they are trying to solve different things. They are concerned about the identity problem and allowing for users to have control of like one set of data. What's the thing that Tim Berners-Lee was promoting a few years ago where you would have like a little server that was your presence and all your stuff will get put in there?
It was like it was like a D box, or it was some sort of like D space, not D space, because that's actually an archival tool.
Is it Pods or something? Tim Berners-Lee.
I do remember that.
It's kind of, to me, it sounds Solid. Solid is the thing. I don't know a lot about Solid, but it seems in some ways similar to Solid, where it's like you can host this little thing and it's like you just put it on a server somewhere, or you would pay for a hosting company to have solid hosting, and other things can plug into that. But the cool thing is, if you want to, you can pack that up and move it to a different host, right? So it's, and again, that's why I use the MySQL database is the alternative. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to someone watching this, but I know to you and me, it means something.
Yeah.
That's a thing that is like anyone can host that. You can take a database, host it anywhere. Technically, you can even have multiple things read to the same database, although you don't always want to. But like,
sure.
That is all possible. And it's a standard that multiple things support. It's kind of like that, but one level up the chain, in that it's a little bit less developer focused. It's supposed to be like easier to grok for folks. Whether it's successful is another thing. So that's AT protocol seems very similar to that. The problem is it's so early that there aren't a ton of things that support AT protocol just yet. There are some. And my big thing is the problem it's trying to solve is not that interesting to me. So I think it's great that they're trying to have some ownership of the data and identity and stuff and unified identity around it. That's kind of cool. However, it doesn't mean like if you get it still is centralized in the sense that you have to use Blue Sky to access your Blue Sky stuff. Even so, so my point in this post is essentially I like your domain as your identity. That's cool. Obviously, I'm a fan of that. I think we're all kind of fans of that here at Reclaim, right? So the problem to me is it would be like, and I put this silly hypothetical out, it would be like if YouTube, the website, required you to host the video files on your own server, but you also had to still watch them at youtube.com. It's like, okay, so I get to use Jaden.me as my account on youtube.com, but now I have to have enough storage for all these videos and pay for all the bandwidth and all that stuff. And I also don't get to put it on my own website. It has to be viewed at youtube.com. That's kind of Blue Sky right now. It's an oversimplification for sure, but it's not like there's another, like if you get banned from Blue Sky for some reason, there's not an alternative you can go make an account on in AT protocol.
There you go. You know, it's lock-in.
It is. I don't think this is intentional, by the way. I think there probably could be alternatives that could read to that same table or whatever in my example. But right now it doesn't exist. And until it does exist, it's not decentralized, in my opinion. It's just that you are owning one node in this case. So again, another thing is right now Blue Sky is banned in Mississippi because they, and honestly good on them, but they refuse to comply with this kind of ridiculous age verification law. So they don't want to handle government IDs to sign up for their service, which again, I think is a good decision. My point is, how decentralized is this if you can't visit Blue Sky in Mississippi? If it was truly decentralized, you could use an alternative. You can visit DS106 Social in Mississippi.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I promise you. So, and until someone from Mississippi knocks on our door and asks us to take block access, I mean, which they could do, but like, then you could move someplace else, right? That's not the case with
all 32 people are going to be pissed
off. Yeah. Maybe that would be a selling point. Maybe we should, whatever. that's mean to someone who may live in Mississippi. But my point is like, to me, that illustrates my point. It's either too early or this isn't a problem they're interested in solving. I think it's probably a little bit of both. If that makes sense. It's sort of like, they look at Mastodon and be like, well, who wants to host a Mastodon server? And I go, sure. My grandma doesn't want to. However, you and I maintain a Mastodon server, and it's not we spend a lot of time doing it. So for a small one, it's not really that much work. So,
I have to say, of all the tools I have supported, and I've supported many, Mastodon for what it is has been far less support than other things like PeerTube or other, arguably, and I love PeerTube. But like I would say, if you're going to host one of these, Mastodon's easier in some ways.
In some ways, yeah. And it's, again, I'm talking relative, right? Obviously, we host websites for a living, right?
That's true, yeah.
But
and we have a great infrastructure team I can rely on. So, I have a certain amount of I'm speaking, with a certain amount of technical privilege here for sure. But I was thinking Mastodon would be a lot worse than it is. I'll be honest on that.
But the flip side is if you wanted to have something, and this is if you wanted to have an alternative to if you want to have an alternative to Blue Sky that you hosted, first of all, that doesn't exist right now. You'd have to make that. But the infrastructure you'd need requires you to index all of the posts on AT protocol. And so the current estimate is if someone is able to do that, they would need a 2 petabyte server of storage to do it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So this is not a protocol that's designed for multiple nodes to be easy.
It's actually designed around centralization from what I'm hearing from you rather than decentralization.
The part it's decentralizing is specifically your data that you put into it that other people can access. And my whole point in this post is if there's still a gatekeeper, if I have the privilege of paying for a server to host the couple images and text that I post on Blue Sky, but people can only see it by going to bluesky.app, then aren't I just a sucker in that equation?
Yeah.
So, and again, I don't know a lot about this stuff, right? So I think I am not probably seeing the entire picture, but that's how it looks like, right, to me.
When you're right, you're right. And you know what? You're right.
So that's a big tangent on
yeah, exactly.
Protocol.
We haven't even talked about Ghost really yet.
We're almost a half an hour in.
We're already in on this stream. You know what you're in for.
Well, like I said, we're going to get to what we get to today. That's okay. Okay, going back here for a second, we're almost done with a little tour through what Ghost has. So there's a search.
I just have to say another interruption. Ghost's Activitypub is kind of strange. Do you agree with me?
I agree. I think
it's got the posts, which makes sense, and then this notifications, which are odd. And I don't know. Like, what's your take on it?
So we're going to get to the main thing, my main problem with it in just a second here. So I want to demonstrate. So here's an example of me following a Mastodon account from my Ghost blog. So I just followed myself.
That's cool.
Case. So that's cool. When I post on Mastodon, which honestly I don't post a lot, but when I do, it'll show up in notes because again, that's kind of Ghost has this concept of short form and long form. Long form stuff is blog posts from other Ghost blogs right now. I think their intention, they've alluded to the fact that they're trying to work with the team that works on Activitypub at WordPress to be able to sort of detect, like, have a way for those to also show up in Reader, which is kind of cool. But right now it's just, just Ghost stuff here. And then notes is essentially their tweets, their Mastodon posts, they're that kind of stuff. So I can make a note from my Ghost blog too. So I can go to new note and I can post something. This is a test post. I can upload an image or whatever. I won't for now, but and if I go to Mastodon, so it goes in notes, right?
Got it.
If I go to Mastodon, I see it right here. And I can reply, hey, from Mastodon. I
kind of like that though, because I mean, I like the community on Mastodon, right? But it's not like Twitter where there's this constant back and forth where I could post something from my Ghost interface to Mastodon and be fine. Yeah. So that is kind of my end goal. Is I like Mastodon, but I think I could centralize on one Activitypub thing. The way I use this stuff, I don't post that much. Most of my Mastodon posts, in fact, most of my social media posts in general, are just linked to my blog posts. So, and I like that. It encourages me to blog more. So, but it worked. I can like things. A lot of that stuff works pretty seamlessly. I really like that I get to be at Taylor@Jaden.me. I like my domain name. It's really short, but it has my full last name inside of it. I love it. So that works pretty well. And I even have this notes page saved on my home screen on my phone. So it's kind of like, it's like a Mastodon app, right? Like I can just click on it and it feels like sort of an app interface. In fact, when you make it small on a phone, it even gets like a little sidebar and that kind of stuff. Let me ask you a question here. With the notifications, do you get notifications when anyone ats you on Mastodon?
Yeah. If anyone adds at Taylor@Jaden.me, I would get a notification here.
You would? Okay.
Yep. So now the problem is this is a website, so I don't get like a, real phone notification. Now for me, that's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd prefer to just go check when I want to. Nothing happening here to me is urgent. But just worth mentioning. So the weird thing is, there's this dichotomy between Reader and Notes, right? When I put a new post out there, that is not a note. So when I post a new when I posted this AT protocol identity and self-hosting post, like a week or two ago, I then went to network notes, new note, pasted a link to it, and then new blog post or whatever.
That's odd. So there's no place where you can just push it out to notifications too?
Not right now. But it's also separate content, right? So, but that also means that when someone replies, so if I go to my profile, and we can see that, this is what I did. I just posted the title and the link to it. And I think I grabbed the image and attached it as well. But it does do a decent job of, like, if you don't do any of those things, it will pull in the like nice looking card, with that kind of stuff. But anyway, but that means, like, so these likes, I have 3 likes and someone reposted it. Actually, I think I reposted it from my Mastodon account.
Sure.
But
you have to in Mastodon. I thought Alan was right when he was talking about that in the community chat. Like, you kind of have to.
If you want both, right? My kind of goal is, like, maybe if this gets enough features, I close my Mastodon account and forward all of the followers to here, in which point everyone who would follow me would instantly be following me in this new place that is my blog. I'm not quite sure that I'm ready to do that yet, because the features here are pretty sparse yet. But I think maybe soon, because again, I don't need much from this personally. But anyway, if I reply to this, I'm replying to the note, not the post. So that's one thing it doesn't do that I would love. I want people to be able to reply to my blog posts and them show up as comments. That is not possible in Ghost right now. If you want to put a comment on here, you have to go here and, sign in.
But that does work with the ActivityPub on WordPress.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, mostly the ActivityPub features of WordPress are further along, and it makes sense. They've been doing it longer. That plugin has existed for a little while, and I think they're pushing on it with new features and stuff. But what I do like is that this whole experience of, like, following other people and all that stuff, it's built in a really clean way into Ghost already, even though this is obviously early. There's tons of things it doesn't have, but they already have this kind of nailed, in my opinion. So it's just the Ghost versus WordPress story over and over again. Can you do more in WordPress? Of course. WordPress can drive your car if you install the plugin for it. Well, do you want it to do that?
Exactly. Do you know that Matt Mullenweg is behind the wheel?
And again, obviously, we're big fans of WordPress. I don't mean this as like a literal slight. It's just a completely different philosophy. Ghost chooses very specifically the things they want to do, this development team. And I think when they choose to do something, they typically do it really well, but they don't choose to do very many things. They choose very few things. So we'll see. This maybe doesn't ever do much more than it does right now. I don't know. I mean, they don't have a roadmap.
How much did you play around with Ben Verdmuller's Known?
Only a little bit. Honestly, by the time I heard about it, it was already kind of
Ghost has some of those elements. Like, Ben and Aaron Ritchie, who they were partners in that, they had a really good design of that. It was very clean, like Ghost, and I like that a lot. And I like this. I may even have
one hanging around still in my account. I made one called stream.jaden.me at one point, and it was when I first kind of heard about indie web stuff. And I made at that point I had my blog was a Jekyll blog, so I made a known blog just to kind of play with indie web things, and I kind of like cross posted between them a little bit just to see sort of and I really liked Known. I liked it too. Honestly, it's probably like the minimum viable blog CMS in a lot of ways.
Well, the thing about
there isn't really a great plugin drop-in replacement to it, in my opinion.
So folks out there who don't know what Known is, Known was an application built, like I said, by Ben Verdmuller and Aaron Ritchie. And it essentially allowed you through APIs to hook up a series of your social media. So Twitter, Facebook, Flickr, your blog, etc., and allow you to kind of post it all from and in one space, even though it's still also going out to those various spaces. It's kind of an early publish on your own site posse and syndicate everywhere. And it did it well. The problem with Known, and there are, you know, maybe I'm wrong here, but it didn't have that reader feature. So ultimately you had to go out to that social network anyway and interact there. So you had the ability to post, but you didn't have the ability to kind of read and interact and be in the space. What Ghost is suggesting here is you have the RSS reader, you have the back and forth where people are commenting to you, and you have that back and forth of, you know, say Mastodon, and that reader built in, whether it's Ghost or whatever application, WordPress, whatever, would be really the key in my mind. Is you go there, you see what's happening, no matter where it's happening out in the Fediverse, that space is kind of like your deck, right? It's where you're filtering everything. And that's the tool that I think is going to allow a lot of this. And Ghost is doing it in its way. It's very Ghost way. WordPress is doing it in its very WordPress way. And it's just a matter of, can things come together in some kind of more, I would say, what's the word? Maybe agnostic way. So it's not just about other Ghost posts or other things. It's about whatever's out there. And RSS is the key there. Again,
I think they are aiming, or at least angling towards that. And that's why I'm so excited about this, because I think the fact that they chose to do this reader and notes view in your Ghost blog dashboard day one, this is the best part about it, to be very clear, is that this exists in my opinion. But I think that's very specific in them saying our philosophy is these things need to live together. We want a theoretical future where your blog is your home on the internet. Yeah. Just like full stop. I think, and I love that. I think that's what they're, I don't know if they've said exactly those words, because I haven't read like everything, you know, but like,
no, they probably said,
seems clear to me based on what I'm seeing here, you know.
They probably said, get your newsletter going and you can make so much money with new followers, because they understand that they got to make a living. But I think their heart has always been in the right place at Ghost in terms of developing their product, being in full control of it, and really making it a nice space. I like Ghost a lot.
Yeah. And it's probably worth pointing out too that they are a nonprofit, right? So you know, I think that it doesn't guarantee anything, but all I'm saying is that when they say we're doing this because we do X, there are, let's say, less incentives for me not to believe them, I guess. You know, whether they're successful or not is a separate thing. But I don't think this is a Microsoft embrace, extend, extinguish. That would be silly if Ghost was trying to do that anyway. They wouldn't win that way. But And
they've always been very transparent about, you know, down to like how much money they make. What's their, you know, month over month. I mean, I've always been impressed by that. Yes. Yeah. So what are we going to do with Ghost today?
So we're going to attempt to move our company blog into the Fediverse, and we're going to at least start this process right now. So I'll say, folks are watching. I'm getting pings on my Ghost thing, so I know there's at least a couple people watching.
Andy Rush, and there he is, Fediverse boy. He's gone full in. We got to watch that guy. And he's like, yeah, it's coming, man. He's like the Rapture. He's like the Fediverse Rapture, the Rush Rapture.
And I also know Mark Corbett Wilson is in our Discord, and so couple things. So Mark got to be a guinea pig for when Ghost 6 came out. I think he was I know he was the first person to install a Ghost site after that, and there were some changes we had to make to our installer to make it work, like period. I still have further changes to make our installer be fully ActivityPub ready. So right now, if you go to Reclaim Cloud, install a fresh Ghost blog, ActivityPub is not going to work.
That's right.
That's something I'm working on. To be honest, we're a small team. We got a lot of things we have to do. I want to get to this soon, but the step one kind of is what we're doing here today, actually. But what we're going to do is our Ghost installer uses Docker. It uses Docker Compose. It has for a while because, in my opinion, that's the way to host things like like Ghost and other tools like this. Ghost 6.0 just got on board with Docker. Before this, Docker was officially not supported by them, and it was a community thing. That they were like, you can do it. We'll build an image and put it out there, but we don't support it, basically. And now it's at least, I think they're calling it as a preview, but they officially have a recommendation on how they want you to install it in Docker. So I want to make our installer extremely closely line up with that, so that it just make things easier. As new versions come out, there'll be a really clear way for folks to upgrade, things like that. So right now, if you have a Ghost blog and you hit update on it, or if you install a new one on our thing, it'll work, but the ActivityPub features won't be enabled just yet. So
yeah, they'll be there, but they won't work.
Yes. So we're going to do this today. I got it working on my site because I futzed around a lot. And to be perfectly honest, I don't 100% remember everything I did. And I didn't write it all down. So, and in fact, at a certain point, I thought it wasn't working. And I was like, I'll return to this. And then I came back weeks later to notice ActivityPub was working. So the problem is I got it working, and then I do kind of know what I did, but not everything. So we're going to actually follow the instructions now because they exist and we can follow them. So I am going to share. No, I am already sharing. I'll just share my window how I am right now. I'm just going to close some things so I can flip back and forth really quick. And we're going to go through and upgrade the Reclaim the Blog site. So this is, let me just double check that this is the right. Oh yeah, that's not going to work that way. Sorry, everyone. So this is our.
See, Reclaim is using Ghost. We do practice what we preach, and we're going to try and get it in the Fediverse. And then that's a place we can experiment with. But we're there with you people. If you feel the pain, that's because we were carrying
we live in this pain.
Those two sets of youth, like, hey, it's my hardest time. Why is there only one set of footsteps in the sand? It's because that's the times, those hardest times, that we were carrying you.
Yeah. Yeah. We were sweeping up our footsteps after, it's
you were being carried footsteps. That's what we are.
So for their install, they say, hey, make a copy of our Ghost repository on GitHub and put it in the right place. We will do something like that. I'm actually going to do one thing really quick. I'm going to actually take down our Ghost site for 1 second. So I'm going to go into the Ghost folder. I'm going to do a Docker compose down.
Ooh. This is where Taylor can show off some of his Docker chops.
Yeah. Is this big enough to see? Should I zoom this in, you think? Or?
A little bit. Yeah, let's get a little zoomed in there.
We'll zoom in a little bit.
I think everybody wants to see your Kung Fu command line.
Hold on. Why aren't you zooming further? I feel like that's not even getting big. Oh yeah, I forgot. It's been long enough that I forgot you have to like close terminal and reopen it for that to apply. Okay, so I took it down. I'm going to do a Docker PS to check. Yep, it's down. If I go to blog.reclaimhosting.com right now, it shouldn't load. Yeah, it's timing out. Okay, I am going to move this, and we're going to call it Ghost back or something for now.
Good.
And then I'm actually going to bring it back up. So the site will still be up. It's just in a new folder, and Docker will really dislike if I try to move the folder while it's running. So we're going to wait a second because it'll probably take it a little bit to come back up.
Something I learned with Ghost. Ghost takes a little bit. You can get really frustrated and start upping and downing it. But
yeah, you just got to be a little bit patient. I could look at the logs too to see if there's something going wrong. But looks,
Taylor, you killed the company blog.
Well,
Taylor,
yeah, I mean, maybe.
Taylor,
there we go.
Taylor, is the blog down?
There we go.
Oh,
of course it's not down.
That's right. Who's the sysadmin now, bitches?
So we are going to leave that be for now. and we're going to work inside a different folder here. So we're going to clone their Git repository down, and just in they say, oh, put it in opt ghost. It doesn't matter. We're going to put it in the folder we were in before. They call it ghost-docker. I'm actually going to rename this to just Ghost, because that's what our old installer's folder was. And just for consistency, I'm going to do that. I'm specifically doing that because I have some add-ons. These will still work in most cases, but they do rely on that path being consistent. So
got it.
If you're watching this in the future, it's very possible that at that point I will have this use the original name to be consistent. But if you're using an existing site, we'll be doing the old path. So just to
can I ask you
that way?
Can I ask you, because you do move fast and you are fast, and that's good. Ghost back is there as a backup. Are you working in the Ghost backup right now?
Nope, I'm working in the new one. The beauty of Docker is that the way we have this configured, that Ghost folder that we had before that we renamed to Ghost back is over there. I brought it back up. It's working. And so everything I'm doing here, because of the way our Docker Compose stack is set up, doesn't affect that essentially. And the reason, and I can go into that Ghost back folder to show why.
So
really
is that
quick.
What's running right now? Is the Ghost back folder?
Correct. Yeah.
Nice.
So right now, all of our stuff is stored in volumes with relative paths, which is how I always do things like this on Reclaim Cloud. And that means you can do things like take the thing down, rename the folder, bring it back up, and it should just come back up. Or you could do things like take the thing down, zip it up, move it to a different Docker host. Maybe it's a different container in Reclaim Cloud. Maybe it's a different infrastructure entirely. And in theory, if you have Docker installed, you can pull it back up and it'll be right back where you left it. Now, there's some things around that, and as far as versions of things that can go wrong. But my point is, it gives you a way to have like one folder that is all the stuff you care about, in this case for Ghost. So
what is in the Ghost, the regular Ghost file now? Yeah.
So in this folder is their Git repository.
Got it.
I don't know. We're going to see what's in here.
Let's see what's in there.
But their Git repository, I mean, if I go take a look at the thing on GitHub, this is what they told us to download. It's going to have a lot of stuff in here, but they have more things. They have things laid out a little bit differently than I did. And also because they probably use this for development too. It kind of makes sense of their Docker stuff in particular. But you'll notice in here is like they have a compose file. It's called compose.yml. It's a lot more complicated than mine. Mine is pretty simple. And this is one thing where I'm not 100% sure what I was saying before about I want to use their official thing, because in a lot of ways I think mine is simpler. But it does make sense, I think, to use the official stuff because it exists. So we'll go with that, and we'll just document what we need to document. And in this, they have some other folders. They use Caddy for the reverse proxy, so that handles SSL. We're using
and we
Nginx.
saw Caddy before with Anubis, right? Or Anubis.
I don't. You know, we didn't stream.
We haven't streamed Anubis yet.
That's
a good one.
That's
Anubis. A good tool. Anubis.
But we'll get there, I think. But I love Caddy. I've used it for a couple things now, and I am fully converted. I hate setting up Nginx. It's an amazing tool.
Nginx is a pain in the
every
ass.
time I need to do anything at all, I have to spend like an hour looking up documentation on Nginx. So Caddy is very simple. It only does a couple things. And its documentation is really delightful, and it does automatic HTTPS. So when you tell Caddy, I want to reverse proxy whatever domain name, it'll go, oh, cool. You told me the domain name. I assume you want an SSL cert there unless you tell it not to. And it will just go and get one and do that, which is like in the year 2025, how every web server should work, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
What site do you not want an SSL cert that's automatically renewed? Very, very few. So
agreed.
Anyway, it's great. And they have the advantage of Caddy's only a couple years old, right? So they get to kind of do that. I think technically Nginx has some capabilities to go plug in and automatically request certs. But yeah, whatever. Caddy's great. I like it a lot. I love that they're using it here. So, all right. So it says, hey, copy the example config files for Ghost and Caddy. Okay, so we'll do that. We've got our terminal here. So it copied an env file and a Caddy file, which is Caddy's configuration file, essentially. And it's going to have us set some things. Now, I am going to probably... I'm going to look at the example file, and then I'm going to take my screen down because our database passwords will be up on screen if I show the old one.
Let's not do that. Exactly.
So I'm not going to do that on stream, but I will show the example file that we just copied. So I'm not going to show the old one, but this is their example file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and, I'm going to go grab values from our old Ghost back folder. And there's a .env file in there. And I'm going to go copy those values into the same places here. And you'll notice there's some things in here that we'll have to get to later. Whoops, my Vim is being weird.
You should use Emacs.
I should, yeah. So I'll have to copy in like the domain name, the database password, or at least set one. I'll need to also grab some of our SMTP stuff from the old one. And it has spots for data location. So it says, oh, this is where this should go. This is where this should go.
Can you just swap environment files?
I could, but I'd prefer to use theirs because there's some stuff in here around ActivityPub and Tinybird. We're not going to get to Tinybird today. We may not even get to ActivityPub today. But I would prefer, for the purposes of being up to date with their, reference here, I'm just going to copy those values in. So
got it.
What I will do is, and again, I'll take my screen down before I actually show this, but I'm going to go into Ghost back, and we have our own, if I do an ls here, we have our own .env file right in here. So I'm going to take my screen down, and I'm going to copy those values out.
In the meantime,
yeah,
I can tell a story. Do you want me to? Why are you doing that? So, before there was Ghost, Taylor was using Yugo, and it's interesting. I don't know if you saw this, Taylor. Darcy Norman wrote on Mastodon about using AI to build his own makeshift commenting engine for Yugo, which I think was a good use of it. I mean, he's like, hey, he's great. Always pretty honest.
I don't miss a Darcy Norman blog post. I mean, if he ever sees this, just so he knows, I don't miss one. And because I love that kind of stuff. And he's also the person that I referenced a lot of his moving to Hugo posts when I did. So yeah, it's a cool post, and I think is a perfect example of, I'll say someone with an ed tech brain and ed tech spirit kind of solving things in a cool way. That's demonstrative of how these LLM tools can be really helpful if you're in that zone, which I am too, which is that I can look at code. I'm not really a programmer. And having an LLM help me with that can be really helpful. It doesn't mean it's always going to be easy. He makes it very clear that his process took a long time to get to what he likes, and that there can be downsides in terms of maintaining it in the future, all that stuff. I think it's a good post for sure.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, I thought it was very interesting, and also, like you said, a very interesting application. So
yeah. So okay, so I've copied I've copied stuff out of our env file into something off screen, so I will be able to use that in a second. I realized that we don't actually need to put in the same root password and stuff because we'll generate one. So I will do that in a second, but I'm gonna put the values in here that I can show on screen right now so that people can see what that looks like. So I'm gonna go into Ghost, and you know what I can do here? I don't need to do this part from the terminal. I can actually do this from the file manager. So
I like the file manager in Reclaim Cloud because it provides another option. You know what I mean? Like you can do command line, but you can also do the old school cPanel file manager, which I love.
Yeah. So we'll go through all of this, even though some of this they don't tell you to do later. If I uncomment this, we can enable the analytics and ActivityPub features. I am going to, for now, leave that commented until we're ready, but that's how you would do that later. Custom public domain Ghost will run on. So this is our domain name. We need blog.reclaimhosting.com to go in there. Perfect. And Ghost admin, if you have admin set up on a separate domain, this is the thing you can do is you can run the dashboard like on admin.blog.reclaimhosting.com, and then you can separately lock down that, which is really cool. We're not doing that. Yeah. But maybe we should.
But, actually, we are doing that for any of you hackers
yeah,
out
we
there.
Definitely are. Don't even try.
Just let me know. Like I'm telling you,
we're doing most of our stuff. So.
It's really complicated. You'll never figure it out. So stay away from my blog.
So this is where I will generate passwords in a little bit and put them here. I like to use the 1Password password generator for this kind of thing. This is just a website that they have. You can also do it in the app, but this works. So I will probably use that in a second to generate database passwords. If you prefer to self-host ActivityPub, we do want to self-host ActivityPub when we do that. So again, this will be a thing that we'll uncomment later. You don't have to self-host ActivityPub, apparently. You can use a service that they host, but they have limits as to how many people can follow you that way. My thing is, if you're going to be self-hosting Ghost, you might as well also run the ActivityPub service if you plan to use it. You already have a server. So just go ahead. If you're doing this and you're to the point where you're enabling ActivityPub, I would go ahead and turn that on. Tinybird. This is the thing I was saying. I haven't played with this yet, but there's apparently a new analytics integration with a company called Tinybird. I do want to try it out, but I haven't done it yet. SMTP. This is mail stuff. I will put some of our stuff in here, but not like passwords. So the host, we're using Mailgun. I think just about anyone who's using Ghost, especially for newsletters, will want to use Mailgun because you're going to need to use Mailgun for the newsletter part anyway. So you might as well use it here too. This is the configuration for non-newsletter stuff. This is for password resets and things like that. For newsletter stuff, that happens actually in the Ghost interface when you log in.
This is like the transactional email, and then the other one is like
newsletter, bulk
newsletter
email.
Stuff email, bulk email. Yeah, exactly.
We were using port 587, although I'm not sure if that matters actually. And we have a user. Like I said, I won't put the password in just yet on screen. I'll get to the password. So we'll actually, I'll just leave that bogus password in there for now.
Yeah.
Advanced stuff. So you can force specific version. We don't need to do that. We'll just run the latest version. We can force specific port. We don't need to do that because Caddy will handle that stuff.
Thank you, Caddy.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this is where uploads and MySQL will be stored. We'll leave these by default too. We will actually move stuff, copy things into these folders. So I'm going to hit save on that. I'm now going to off screen put in the values I didn't want to do on screen.
Thank you. Security is paramount at Reclaim. I'll just have you know that. And I think we're demonstrating that right now. And, you know, it's not only in our interest, it's in your interest. Does that work, Taylor? You like that?
Only
you think I'm ready to do a commercial?
Only you can prevent self-hosted security breaches.
Exactly.
Security fires or something. But yeah, so okay, so I've filled that in. And I'm going to come back here. We're going to go back to their thing. So they said to do that. We did this. optional domain setup in Caddy. We are going to do this when we're ready to actually bring it up. We will have to bring down the existing site at that point because they're going to want to use the same ports for the web server. But we can go in and configure stuff. So it says the Caddy file is set up for various domain settings. I'm just going to dig right in. We're going to look right at the Caddy file because it's actually usually pretty easy to parse. Oh, I have to go in Caddy.
And then it's Caddy file.
Caddy file. Okay. So, so this is interesting. This is going to pull in the domain from the env file. So I don't have to change that. Nice. It's got some rules that are set up as snippets, basically like little blocks. This is kind of like Apache includes almost. So those are in there. We don't need to do anything with that. It says by default proxy everything else to Ghost. So anything that doesn't, meet this traffic and ActivityPub stuff, go to Ghost. Sounds good. Separate admin domains, we're not doing that, so we don't need to worry about that. Yeah. Redirect www to root. We should do that. I don't know if we have domain. Actually, I'm not 100% sure if we
even set up www.blog.reclaimhosting.com.
Yeah, maybe not because it's not a root domain. Yeah, if you could test that, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, because that doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, it's less often that we would do that on a subdomain. So, but we could,
I'm coming. I'm just exiting full screen. I don't know why full screen is like my nemesis. It's like I used to be stronger than this. Okay. So www.blog.reclaimhosting.com. Yeah, that is insecure and not and redirecting, but it's still insecure.
Oh, okay. So we are pointing it, but we're not issuing a cert for it.
That's right.
That's cool. So then I will enable this. So we're going to redirect www to root. Now this is not technically like mandatory. If you don't want that to happen, you can just not do this. So I'm going to uncomment that section right here. And the reason why this wouldn't be uncommented by default, by the way, is if you tell this to do this and you don't have DNS pointed for it, Ghost is going, well, technically Caddy is going to try to get a certificate and then fail. And that's no good. You don't want to be requesting a certificate over and over again.
Yeah.
For something that you don't have. You can get blocked by Let's Encrypt, that rate limited technically. But anyway, we do have that set up. This is one of those things where when the Ghost installer that we provide does this stuff, we will probably just instruct people to point to DNS records, and I will probably default to www, but then say, if you don't want to do www, just go in here and comment these 4 out, or maybe we default, and it'll be something we'll have to document. Here's how you redirect www to the main domain if you want to. Right now, my Ghost installer doesn't even support that. That's something you have to manually do. So that's kind of nice that that's in here. So I've done that. Okay, going back.
I think we're ready to install and run Ghost.
I think so. To be clear, it should come up and then it'll be blank though, right? So we'll need to then migrate some stuff.
All the data, right? Yeah,
yes. Exactly. And what I want to look in is see how I did the MySQL.
Yeah, we've done that before together.
I do actually have some notes on how some of the commands I did. I was writing down commands as I migrated my blog over, so we'll be able to use some of this. I am going to do this. So I'm going to dump the database right now from our old site, and before we even bring up the new one. So I'm going to go to Ghost back. And one of the cool things is I wrote these commands when I was doing from my blog as if I was going to script all this, but I didn't actually end up doing that. But I'm using a source command that's going to pull credentials out of that env file without me having to show them on screen, nice. Which is super nice in theory. And then I can run this command to use Docker to export the database. So it's going to go into Docker, go to the database container, go to MySQL dump, as the root user in this particular case, although it wouldn't have to be root. Get the Ghost database and put it in root ghost db.sql. I think I'm going to use that exactly. Okay, in theory, that's done. So let me go see if that happened.
Looks like it happened. Kung Fu right there. Look at that. Yeah. GhostDB.sql. I see it, but I don't believe it. And it's 60 megabytes, so it's something.
There's at least a lot of something in there.
Exactly. That's a lot of text.
Copy. Okay. So copy database. That's interesting. I'm looking at my notes from before, and I'm not really sure why. I'm going to cat this really quick. I suppose this is giant. I don't know why I did that.
What were you catting there?
Maybe this is an old copy of it. I just realized that I was going to cat the database dump just to see if it worked properly. Here, let's do this. Tail Ghost DB. Okay. Cool. Yeah. All right. Okay. So that's the database dump. It looks like it worked. I am going to now bring up, we're going to copy in our data folder, which is our like Ghost uploads and things. And then we're going to restore the database dump, but we have to do this in kind of a specific order. So if I go into the new Ghost folder, and this one is going to keep things at data. The compose file says, I think it was, wow, there's a lot in here. I believe it was data Ghost is kind of the path that we set in our env file, and that's what I have written down for my notes. So I'm going to create that folder because it doesn't exist yet, actually, in our case. And so that command will make the data folder. And now I can actually copy over stuff from our existing Ghost install in there. So I'm going to use rsync for this, although cp-r would also work just fine. But I just prefer rsync for this kind of thing. And in our old Ghost install, I put all of that stuff in a folder called content. So that's just a change here in the, layout of where things are stored.
So it's root Ghost data Ghost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a little confusing. Root is with Docker stuff and Reclaim Cloud, we're technically running as a root user in this container. So that makes sense. Ghost is the folder our Docker Compose stuff lives in.
Got it.
That's their Git repository. Data is the folder inside of that, and then they make a folder called Ghost. This is why I said in the future it might be nice to go with the name they had, which was, I think, Ghost Docker.
Got it.
Just to have a little bit more readable. So in the future we probably will do that. So we're now copying over all of our images and uploads and things like that. Yeah.
This will make it easy.
And to be clear, I could move that instead of rsyncing it. I want to make a copy. That way, if I really royally mess up, I can just bring up the old site as it was, basically. Okay. So now we're going to bring up the new site. Or first, I guess I got to bring down the old one. We're going to bring up the new one and then restore the database on top of it. And then finally, we will need to pull containers because we're still using the same version of the Ghost containers that we had before.
We got to do an update. Yep.
I don't know if I have to do that ahead of time or not. I just don't know.
Do you have to do the database first?
It probably would make sense now that I'm thinking this through, to do the pulling of containers first, because then we'll be on the updated versions of MySQL and everything that they want. So let me take the old Ghost down. I'm going to go back. We're going to go up to Ghost. Let's do a git pull, or a Docker compose pull. So it's going to pull the new version of Ghost and the database.
Yes.
Caddy.
Yes. Doing a lot of good stuff here. You're seeing it first, people.
Yeah. You
think this is easy? Huh? You think it's easy to do what we do?
It's always nerve-wracking a couple times. So this is because, again, this is my first time I've done it since I just messed around with it on my own blog, where I didn't care if it was up or down at any given time, essentially. But the pressure's on right now. Blog.Reclaim Hosting is down.
What's going on over at that company?
So
what are they doing over there?
We pulled it. We're gonna bring things up, and we'll restore the new database. So Docker compose up -d. Now I think I'm going to wait. Yeah. So the database is going to take a little bit because it's got to initialize a database right now, like create the databases it wants to create. And if I go to blog.reclaimhosting.com now, it's okay. Yeah. It's not going to load right away, but yes. Okay. We're going to see this now. This won't be right yet because the database isn't here yet. So it's going to be like a fresh site, right? Our images are there, but none of our content.
Like, what happened to all my work?
Yeah. So again, we can source the env file for the new site. That way I don't have to show database credentials on screen. And we can similarly restore the new database. So we're going to be grabbing the what was it? Ghostdb.sql. And we're going to be piping that into Docker Compose. And this is sort of like an advanced way to do this that saves me like some steps, basically. So we're going to do that as the MySQL user, root, password, database, root, password, Ghost. Okay, so that's the database it's going to go into. Let me just see if this is still up right now. It is. Okay, here goes.
Let's do it. It can be insecure, but you know what? Security first at Reclaim. So don't worry, command line, be quiet, and let us go.
It's complaining because technically I passed it a database password in the command line, but I didn't really. I mean, I did, but not in a way that we all can see it. I did it as a variable, basically. So that's why it's complaining. Now I may have to restart Ghost here.
I think you should. Yeah, oh my gosh, it worked. It worked. It worked, ladies and gentlemen.
It mostly worked. I think I do have to restart it because like our header and stuff is missing right now. But
oh my God, the data's there. The header images are there. Well, not the header image, but the featured images are there.
Yeah. Let's do a full restart. And if that doesn't bring the header and featured images back,
this is amazing.
I may need to actually drop the database and re-add it. Possibly that might be what I need to do.
Let's see. Let's not get crazy. We're having major success here. Major. This is not typical of what we usually do.
Bam.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, holy
Let me log
hat.
in here.
Yeah, now we just can't access.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can't even.
Oh, okay. One more thing. So something is wrong with our mail configuration, which I can probably fix. But if Mark is still watching, he'll be pleased to know that this is the exact same problem that I ran into before with my that we needed to make changes to the installer. So there is a setting on Ghost that requires you to use two-factor the first time you log in. And if you don't have mail working, then you can't log in, essentially. I can either find that setting and disable it, or I can fix our mail. I think in this particular case, I am going to fix our mail, but I will say, as of right now, in our new version of the installer, you won't run into this issue because I have this turned off by default. So it says failed to send email. Please check your site configuration and try again. That shouldn't happen on our version of the installer that exists right now, because some people don't want to hook mail up to their Ghost, right? Some people just want to use it as a blog. So this feature I have to fix right now. I'm not sure why our Mailgun configuration isn't working, but I will figure it out. Oh, wait. I messed up, Jim.
What happened?
Look at this. Oh, wait, no. Okay. I'm mixed up. I'm like,
no,
it's not. Roll, I'm man. Like, I pulled the old one up, not the new one, but I did. I forgot I moved it to Ghost back. That's the old one. So let me off screen look at our Mailgun configuration really quick, because I probably messed something up with that. I didn't copy something properly or whatever. I'll see if I get mail working. SMTP.
Yeah, it is looking good for me. The site's up and running.
Yeah. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing. We can figure out mail.
Yeah. Mail transport, mail service.
So what is it again? Explain again what the issue is that Mark had and you had with this.
So as of Ghost 6, Ghost requires the first time you log in, and I think first time on upgrade too, it requires an email verification where it sends you a code. It's two-factor. Gotcha. It's two-factor. It's forced two-factor, which two-factor is great, but if you don't have working mail, that means you cannot log into your Ghost site.
Yeah.
And that's not a good experience, especially if you're just trying out Ghost. So on our installer, I actually turned that off. There's an option where you can say, don't do forced two-factor. Let people opt into two-factor once they've logged in, essentially. So I will.
So shouldn't that avoid this problem?
It would, but we're not using our My Ghost installer anymore. We're now using their default settings. I will implement something like that when we get to updating our Ghost installer. But to be clear, for us at Reclaim, we need Mailgun working. This is so like I just need to solve the problem. I'm not really sure why Mailgun isn't working just yet, but we will get there. I'm sure I just set something wrong or something like that. But yeah. But yeah, Ghost is actually up, which is good. So we'll get there.
Yeah, Ghost is up. It's working fine. I tested it. Is F2F a thing? I don't know. I think 2FA is a thing. F2F is a new B2B. F2F is the new B2B.
Blog and
Do you think someone who came up with that kind of stupid acronym B2B, like they got rich off of it? They were like, B2B, man, B2B. And then someone was like, yeah, B2B. And they're like, yeah, I'm the B2B guy.
I think it depends how you connect money to ideas,
Yeah.
In the sense that maybe they invest, maybe they're big at venture capital, then absolutely. Yeah. Right.
True.
But if it was just like some guys like, I came up with the name, what do I get that name money from? It's like,
exactly.
No, you get nothing.
Yeah, exactly. You're an
unfortunately
idiot.
For you. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure why I'm still not really sure why it's not working just yet. I am looking through. I must have like copied something wrong. That's how this stuff always works. It seems. But
do you want me to try and log in?
Yeah, I expect you'll get the same problem as me, but you should try, because if you don't, then we can just continue on and I'll fix my account later or whatever. But I'm going to log into Mailgun off screen right now and see if there's something there that I need to adjust.
Yeah, it's
same thing.
It's just saying failed to log in. Please try again. When I try and log in.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't say failed to send email.
I didn't go to Ghost. Hold on. So let me go to Ghost.
You went to the front end one. Huh?
I went to the front end one.
Yeah.
So if I go to the main Ghost, I'm already logged in though. So I got to log out. And I'm logged in and it's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Why don't you stay logged in for now?
Okay. I'm logged in. You want me to change anything while I'm in there?
No. These settings will have to be changed outside because they're one of those things where this does not work if you don't have the ability to log in. So they're smart enough to like give you the settings in that env file. There must just be something I'm missing about the
I'll tell you something that's cool is when I go into Reclaim the Blog now, I see network. And if I go to next, I don't know, do we want to do it together? Should I
do
basically
this.
share my screen?
Instead of me troubleshooting mail, which is never fun, I can do that off screen. Why don't you share your screen? ActivityPub is not enabled yet, right? So it probably won't work, but like, let's see what it does. And then I can enable ActivityPub and we can go from there. So
can you see this? No, hold on.
Yes. Yeah, I can.
You can. Okay, great.
So yeah,
this is where I am.
Cool.
What do you want me to do?
For now, do nothing because we need to follow one more step. I'm going to put my screen up. You can keep yours shared for now. I'm back in our env file, and I will have to change some database passwords because it's fraught. It's fraught. If I go back to their instructions, it says, here's how you enable web analytics. We're not going to do that right now. Here's how you enable social web. So it says, add ActivityPub to the compose profiles variable at the top. So we're going to do that. And then we have to uncomment ActivityPub target. So I'm going to go back to the text file here. They've got their example here. I'm just going to add a new line, and I'm going to remove analytics because, again, we'll mess with that another time.
Sure.
So we've enabled that profile. We now need to uncomment the ActivityPub target. And I will do that here.
Nice.
Great.
Beautiful.
And what else do they want us to do? Nope, wrong tab. Then we just need to pull the ActivityPub image and run this command, which is going to regenerate. Well, it'll bring ActivityPub up, and it's going to force Ghost and Caddy to restart with the new settings.
Perfect.
So let's do that.
Let's do it.
It's not what I wanted there. So we're pulling. This will be interesting too, because we can see we're using 6 cloudlets right now. So we can see, like, is the ActivityPub container, like, I would imagine it would probably result in more cloudlets, but it shouldn't be much. I think it's a pretty lightweight service. So
yeah, I betcha. There it is. Docker compose up the force recreate Ghost Caddy.
Let's do it. I would expect when it's restarting things that our blog's probably still down. Okay, so we'll go here. Oh, is it already back up?
It's up.
Okay. All right. Do you want to refresh your page?
I do. And I'm going to, can you see?
I'm just still seeing increase your reach with the social web. Is that
okay?
Did you refresh already? Oh yeah. Okay. Great. I'm realizing our logo is blocking the next button. I didn't see that before. Okay, so let's hit next. Okay.
Nice.
This is kind of a cool onboarding. Let's hit next again. And next again. Yeah, it's just showcasing kind of the stuff we were showing here.
Yeah.
So we're here. Let's go right to the profile page on the right sidebar and go to edit profile. And it's cool. It uses our header.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's right in there.
I mean, it makes sense, I guess. But what do you want our handle to be? We could, I don't know. It could be index, but I don't love that as a default, to be honest. But like I see what they're why.
VHS.
Perfect. I love it. Okay. VHS at blog.reclaimhosting.com. Hit save. And in theory, we are on the fediverse. So let's test that theory, and we'll call this successful, and I will troubleshoot mail off screen.
Yes,
so I'm going to now put in VHS at blog.reclaimhosting.com into Mastodon. I'm going to wait and pray that it's working. Looks like it's working. So we now follow our own blog. I follow, I guess, our own blog.
The fediverse. Our ghost blog to the fediverse because we have the technology. All right, fediverse. There it is. Boom, boom. All right. Did it work? Let us see. I imagine it did, but you tell me.
I see it.
That's awesome. That's so cool. So I like that like we can do some of our like marketing stuff for the conference and all that right from the blog.
And if you think about it, right, like awesome. Our use of Mastodon as a company is pretty simple in general. Like we're mostly using it the way I was describing. I use social media right now, which is like we write something on our blog and then we kind of link to it from social media. And that's something we've talked about before. We've given presentations on the fact that we're centering our presence on the blog. Not new for maybe Reclaim, but but the same message in a different way, let's say. But I love that we could do that even further. Now, there's some downsides. You know, we use Buffer to schedule posts, and I don't know that Buffer supports like ghost blogs yet, right? So maybe we have to come up with a way to schedule the posts. I don't know, right? There's some things we'd have to figure out before I would say we could like, our only Fediverse presence is our blog.
I agree.
But I could see it someday, you know, and that's kind of cool. And to me, this is neat because it's one other option in a simple, I am one person. I want to be on the Fediverse and I want to own the technology behind it completely. But I don't necessarily need a whole Mastodon instance for myself.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's really cool. WordPress exists and is a great option for that. And probably what I would recommend for most people that have that specific want that I just outlined. But now Ghost is getting there too. I should also go into my own Ghost and see if I can follow.
Let's see. That's fun.
Follow.
And vice versa. I'll do it for you.
Yeah. Reclaim blog.
Where do you do it? Do you do it explore?
I just went to the search at the top of the network tab, and I'm going to put the whole handle in, and yeah, it looks like it showed up. It looks like this one's not pulling. Mine's not pulling in the profile properly. So I'm not sure what's up with that. That might just be like a problem with my site, or maybe it takes some time or something.
And yours is what? At Taylor@Jaden.me?
Yes. Yep.
There it is. So Reclaim just followed you. Oh, and I can even follow at Jim Groom, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you should be. Is it Reverend at maybe?
DS106.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, on your Mastodon. Yes.
Yeah. I'll look for
I think your WordPress, you have ActivityPub installed on too. So
actually, I don't even see at Jim Groom at social.ds106.us. That's weird. Oh, because I spelled my name wrong. That's always always useful. Okay, let's see. What would be my blog, it would be at.
So this is one of those things where Ghost doesn't do this perfectly yet. But one of the things I like about Mastodon is you can put in really wide search terms and it will usually surface something. So if I put in even just part of your domain name, it looks like, because this is one of the things that WordPress does, is it does like several accounts. I don't love that they have it this way, but it looks like there's @admin, @reverend, and @application. So Reverend has 40 posts. Admin has 527. So I'm thinking admin is like the main
admin
thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Admin @bavatuesdays.com. I haven't even tried following a WordPress site from Ghost yet. I don't know.
At admin @bavatuesdays.com. I think I changed it actually after Alan's talk. I changed it to @reverend, I think.
Okay.
But I have to look into that. But @reverend did come in.
Oh, that
I
worked?
did find that one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if it has all the old posts, but it'll be interesting to see if it has the new ones, right?
That worked for me too. So I'm following that from my Ghost too. And I wonder, like, when I search this, so this, again, it's early days, especially for Ghost with this stuff. But it's kind of interesting that I can, like, there's now a bridge here between these two CMSs that are so different in a lot of ways. And I'm excited to see where this goes. I would love to see stuff from WordPress show up in Reader. I don't know if they have plans for that.
That would be amazing. That would be a coup d'etat.
To me, it would be one of those things where it's like, how about you put posts that are over so many characters in Reader? That's just where they go. You know, it's probably not that simple. But that would be cool. I would love to have some ability to do RSS right in here.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's my blog is where I do most of my reading online, essentially. Because right now I'm using Feedbin as my RSS reader. I've used it for a long time. I really like Feedbin. But it would be cool to self-host that. I know that there are self-hosted RSS readers out there. I've used all of them. I don't like any of them personally.
Yeah.
I mean, not that people shouldn't. It just, I want a very particular thing from mine. And
I have always wanted my feeds to be built into my dashboard.
Yeah.
That's how I want.
There are things in WordPress that do that too. There are plugins, but none of them are what I want either.
Good.
Yeah. So anyway, maybe someday, but it's encouraging to see this. It's cats and dogs on the internet living together.
Exactly, right? It's amazing. No, and well done. You executed that pretty brilliantly. And I can't believe,
except for breaking the email on our newsletter site, but we'll fix that off.
But at the end of this, stream, our Ghost instance, which we use extensively to, communicate with our community, is now connected to the fediverse through ActivityPub. That's something. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, and that went honestly smoother than
it went very smooth. We didn't get we started on a tangent, but we gave ourselves half an hour to do that, and you nailed it.
Yeah, and we're almost half an hour over, but yeah, I think we didn't start upgrading till almost 40 minutes into this.
It was 50 minutes.
So okay, perfect. So we're, as usual, we're not very concise. But that's fine. And if we were aggressive social media folks, we would hire someone to clip out all the things and put them on TikTok and stuff.
And make sure that you
like and subscribe.
Exactly.
Smash that like button.
Great job, Taylor. That was awesome.
Thanks. And I will say, so stay tuned if you want to use Ghost on ActivityPub and you're waiting to jump on that for our installer. I think we'll probably put an announcement out there when we do have that ready and tested and everything. It may be a little bit yet. As you can kind of see through this process, there's a lot of actual things to consider that I want to make sure we do right. In general, I like our Ghost installer to be really easy to use when we can make it easy to use. And so to do that and try and closely match their official things, there's some work I have to do. Won't take a lot of time, but it will take a lot of testing. So that's a thing. Stay tuned. If you have an existing Ghost blog that you want on ActivityPub, also stay tuned. I'm intending to have a way forward for folks to upgrade their stuff, do what we did today. I'm going to look at options for that. It might be an automated process. It might be documentation. It might be me having folks let me know if they want that and going and doing it, because there's, we don't have a ton of people using Ghost and Reclaim Cloud right now. So I could probably do some of them. Stay tuned. I don't have
as you see, this is not for the faint of heart. Taylor made it look easy, but it's not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, but I'm pretty close. What you can't see off screen is I have some notes for when we got to the command line stuff that I did on my blog, and they worked basically one-to-one.
They did.
I am like 95% of the way towards a script. Probably not a script that I would put in the hands of any person, but one that I could use to do this quickly. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I'm hoping to say, if you've got a Ghost site on Reclaim Cloud and you want it to work with ActivityPub, put in a ticket and I'll handle it, and it'll take 10 minutes. But I'm not quite there yet. So stay tuned if that's something you want to do. We will probably have a post about Ghost and ActivityPub and the installer and that kind of thing in the next couple months, I would say.
So stay tuned, hippies. And until then, this is the great Reclaim TV signing out.